Hi friends, welcome back. I apologize. I've been out of commission for a little while. It's been really busy couple months with work and traveling for work, and I'm taking that Jane Austen course I told you about. And in addition to all that, I am also an instructor at a local university here, and my course, which I teach a couple times a year, was in session these past couple of weeks. So between working and teaching and learning and traveling, I haven't been able to post a lot. But today I am in my backyard in my little garden that I'm going to show some footage of and talk about it a little bit. And I'm going to tell you about some of the gardening books that I have been using over the past couple of years to help me learn how to garden better and grow food, just because I've always wanted to grow my own food. By no means am I able to grow enough food to sustain myself and my partner, but every summer we really do learn more and more and get more and more vegetables out of it. And last summer we actually canned for the first time. We have so many jars of pickles in our basement that my partner's a little traumatized, and he was wondering whether we should just not plant cucumbers this year. I did plant them, but we had a really good crop last year. So learning how to can, learning how to garden, and I'm going to talk about a couple of the books that have helped me the most. First one being, and this is the one that I use all the time, and this is my favorite. This is Grow Great Vegetables in Massachusetts by Marie Ionati. Now, I'm assuming that this edition will cover most, if not all, of the states in the US. Obviously, mine is Massachusetts because that's where I live, but I'm guessing that, so this is by the Timber Press. So I'm guessing that if you do a little searching, you might be able to find a version for your state, which really is important because we're all in different growing zones. I'm in zone 6. I'm in zone 6. I can't remember if I'm 6A or 6B, but I'm in zone 6. And so this is specific to your zone and what vegetables will grow the best in your climate, your area, your type of soil. This has been absolutely helpful, especially since it goes through every single month from January to December, what you should be doing in that month and what you should be doing to prepare for the next month. So in April, for zone 6, I was supposed to sow indoors certain plants, which I did not do because I didn't have the time. So you can sow indoors cucumbers, lettuce, pumpkins, and squash. You can direct sow, which means outside in the pots or in the ground. Carrots, cilantro, arugula, fava beans, parsnips, radishes, etc. And then it also tells you what you can start transplanting, and then it tells you what you should be able to harvest. So really, really great resource. This is invaluable to me. Hopefully you can find a version for your state. Another one that I use regularly because I do container gardening. I don't actually plant in the ground, and we did try that one year and it didn't really work very well, probably because of the type of soil that we have. We will hopefully try it again one year, but this one is the Vegetable Gardener's Bible, container Bible. And this guy goes through all types of containers and the soil mixes you should use and what works best in pots, big pots, small pots. Start small, grow like some tomatoes and basil in a pot and then go from there. Companion planting. And then at the end, he goes through the different types of crops that are easily plantable in containers, like potatoes. I haven't tried potatoes yet, and he's just putting it in like a little tub there. So I haven't tried that yet, so soon. So this is by Edward C. Smith. Next is Low Maintenance Vegetable Gardening by Claire Matthews. This has been helpful with learning about the types of crops themselves and what insects to look out for. Some are beneficial, some are not, what diseases these plants may get. I have failed to plant carrots every year for whatever reason. No matter what I do, I cannot get carrots to grow. So I'm going to have to go back to this book and find out what I did wrong. I just don't know. And I really, really want to grow carrots. I've just been very unsuccessful. Another book is Composting for a New Generation by Michelle Balls. So I'll show you some footage of the compost. I did not want to compost. I was not interested whatsoever. However, my partner was super interested in it. He really, really wanted to do it. So I said, fine, that is your thing. I'm not going to have anything to do with the compost. I don't want to have to deal with dirt in my backyard or just random trash in my backyard. Well, I love that compost. I love it so much. And the fact that I literally take trash from my yard, from my partner's wood shop, from my kitchen, and I grow, like, it literally breaks down after a couple years and makes like this nutrient dense dirt that I put in my garden, still boggles my brain. And I just absolutely love that compost. Of course, he walks around going, I told you so, but whatever, I don't care. So this was actually helpful in determining how to do it properly, because you can't just stick it in your backyard and just throw trash on top of it, especially since you don't want to attract animals. And it also goes through, the different types of breakdown and things that you need to feed the compost. So you have to have certain ratios of nitrogen, like green matter, so for nitrogen, and brown matter for carbon. Green matter would be, lawn clippings, stuff that I prune. That is green nitrogen matter. And then for brown matter, for the carbon, you can use dead leaves. We actually use shredded paper. We shred all of our junk mail and throw it into the compost. You can use the sawdust from my partner's shop, throw that in there, all brown carbon material. And so you have to have like a certain ratio. And then it gets actually hot, so it's literally cooking. So even in the winter, it's still warm in there because it's all cooking. And then there's like tons of insects and everything. I could probably talk about it forever. Like, it's just so fascinating. But this book was helpful so that I knew all of that, so that I knew that we needed the carbon and the nitrogen to go in there. And I knew that we needed to turn it every couple of days so that it cooks evenly. So really, really good book if you want to start composting. I absolutely love it. So those are the gardening books that I like. And then I really wanted to learn how to start preserving and canning. So right now I only do water bath canning. I don't have a pressure canner yet. And so I just wanted to start off with that. The complete book of small batch preserving has been really, really helpful in learning how to water bath can and having small batch recipes, because a lot of the recipes sometimes are like, if you have like bushels and bushels and bushels of tomatoes, and we just don't have that. Like, maybe I get like a couple tomatoes a day. I've made some really great tomato and roasted red pepper soup that I was able to freeze and preserve. We used recipes in here for canning the all of the cucumbers that we had. We have so many pickles. It is just crazy. I'm pickled out. I made hot spicy pickles for my partner, and I made bread and butter pickles for myself. And we just have so many. And I got the recipes out of here. We've made candied jalapenos. We've made canned peppers. We've done a whole bunch of things out of this recipe. One thing that I haven't done yet is learn how to can fruit, make some jellies and stuff like that. So I have this book here called Jam Session by Joyce Goldstein. I have not actually done any recipes out of this, but I am hoping to do that this year. I'm not actually growing any fruit, so I am probably going to have to go to the farmer's market or the store and actually buy some fruit to learn how to make jams. Oh, I forgot to mention this here is by Ellie Top and Margaret Howard. So really, really good, easy recipes in here. And I made salsa. Really good salsa, actually. I was surprised. I didn't think it would be that good, but I used tomatoes from my garden, peppers from my garden, and made some really good salsa. So we had a really good crop last year, and this book was very helpful in my learning how to preserve journey. So next up maybe not this year, but next year, I'm going to learn how to pressure cook, which is what you can do for. So the thing about water bath cooking is it's all about acidity. So you can water bath, preserve really acidic items, you know, like tomatoes and jams and stuff like that. But if you want to preserve certain vegetables and even meats, you have to do pressure canning. You can't do water bath canning. So I do want to learn how to do that, but maybe next year. All right, so now it's late May and the garden has really started to take off. So this bed here is full of tomatoes and they're looking really good. We've started staking them. And these little whoosie whatsits here are to help me water because I am a chronic overwaterer. And once these start going down, then I know that the beds are in need of water. Over here, we've got some more tomatoes, looking good. And then these little guys are peppers. Now that it's starting to get warm, they'll start growing faster. The tomatoes have really exploded in the past month since I planted them, but the peppers really need heat. And it's now just starting to get warm enough for them to get going. More peppers and tomatoes. As you can see, we really like tomatoes and peppers. My partner loves hot peppers, so I'm always planting jalapenos and hot chilies for him. I personally don't partake. I just like the bell peppers. We've got some parsley here as a companion plant to help ward off insects. I did plant some more parsley here via seed, but it has not sprung up, so I'm gonna have to try again. And then in the tomato beds, I did plant some basil as a companion plant, but it didn't spring up, so I'm gonna have to figure something out there. Over here, there's more peppers and some beans. So these here are some bush beans, so these are looking good. And as for companion planting over here, I did plant some cilantro, and it has started to come up, but only that one plant. I had a whole row here that did not come up. And then in the corners, I planted some marigolds also as a companion plant to help ward off bad insects and attract beneficial insects. So these are looking good. However, the flowers that I planted over here, nasturtiums, did not spring up. So I will have to find some more and probably plant some seedlings instead of from seed. All right, over here, another tomato. This whole row, radishes, which if you're just starting to garden, radish is probably the perfect thing to grow because it is really something you cannot screw up, except that it does not like the heat. So that's why it is a spring crop. And these have really done well. So we get a guy right there. I'm really excited. Here is a cucumber that I just planted from seedling because I did not get the seeds in time. More beans, which will be lovely. Another cucumber over here. And then this empty spot is also going to be cucumbers. And then this last bed over here are the snap peas, which are looking gorgeous. I'm so excited for the snap peas. They are just so good from the garden. And then the rest here, more radishes, looking amazing. So now that it's starting to get warm, I might not get too many more crops out of this, but I'm going to pull these. Oh, this guy needs to be pulled. So I'm going to pull these and then plant another set, and that might be it, because once it starts getting too hot, radishes don't do well. So over in this low bed, I have zucchini. And of course, my neighbor's going to start playing with his freaking saw as I'm talking. Okay, he's done for a minute. So let me see. Hopefully I can get this done before he starts with the saw again. Anyway, this low bed is the zucchini. I did plant beneficial flowers in here, but they have not sprung up, only that one there. And last year I did put the zucchini in one of the taller beds. but it really is much better as a ground cover. So with the taller beds, it was like spilling over the sides and it just was not working. So I put them in the low beds this year. And then over here is the butternut squash. My butternut squash last year was amazing, and I really, really hope I get a good crop again this year. This time, instead of having it in the tall bed, I have it in the low bed, and I did put in some trellis because it really does get viney. Again, some of the flowers that I planted to attract pollinators did not really come up that well, so I'm gonna have to fix that up. And then over here are just all my herbs. Got some parsley and cilantro. Those are some scallions, some dill, mint, marjoram. Chives are not really thriving, so I gotta figure something out. Oregano, tarragon, sage, and then these are all lettuce, which have not come up. And I'm usually very, very successful with lettuce, so not sure what's going on here. But yeah, so that's gardening 2024. And lastly, here is our compost. We have 3 bins. These 2 here are still cooking. As you can see, we're still throwing new stuff on it. We've got some tomato cuttings from my pruning from yesterday. We've got some sawdust from my partner's shop. I'm not exactly sure what this is from. Here's finished compost here. I actually used this when I set up the beds last month. So all of this will eventually turn to this. Oh, there goes my neighbor again with the saw. So it'll eventually turn to this. It takes a couple of years to break down from this to this, but it will do it. Now, the way that it was supposed to work is one bin was supposed to be where we're putting the new stuff. The second bin is where we stop and it starts to break down. And then the third bin is finished. But somewhere over the winter, I don't know what happened. Me and my partner just mixed the 2 up. So now we have 2 bins that are cooking at the same time, which will be great. I guess in a couple of years, I'll have tons and tons of compost. But so I'll use this for dressing throughout the season. And then I'm probably not going to have any fresh compost next year because this stuff will take at least 2 years to cook and break down. So that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me in my garden with my neighbor doing some construction next door. Hopefully you guys can hear this. And thanks so much for joining me. And I'll see you in the next one.